Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. We are here backstage at an amazing concert by the ensemble Riyaaz Qawwali. We are fortunate enough to have a private conversation here with their lead singer, Sonny. Welcome, Sonny, to the Foundations TV.
Thank you very much. We appreciate being covered, and we're excited about the concert that's coming up.
It's Cavalli it's an art form that has been around for 700 years, and you and your ensemble group is taking it forward and keeping it alive. That's itself is very amazing, but you also bring a very unique style to this form of music. So tell us more about that.
Yes, Cavalli is many years older than we are. What we're trying to do is bring it to 2019 audiences and bring it to audiences that may not be in South Asia. You know, they may have not ever lived there in India or Pakistan or even visited there. And we're trying to showcase a lens into South Asian people, their philosophies, their poetry and literature through the medium of Cavalli, which so beautifully uses not just the musical instruments that are much earthier, but also the literature. And really the deep literature that's in Cavalli is something that a lot of audiences attach to throughout our concerts.
There's so much depth in every single thing you said. I have so many questions already about every single thing. But I'll begin with the literature part of it. So what is it that, do you write your own music? Or are you inspired by a certain form of literature or source of literature?
Well, first of all, before we get to even what we do, I think the depth and breadth of literature that exists in Urdu, in Punjabi, in Farsi, not to even mention the South Indian languages or Gujarati, is amazing. So there's a lot to take inspiration from. Cavalli specifically talks about several themes, but one of them being the idea of taking a path to connect with God. So everything in Cavalli has a double meaning. One of the meanings from each of the poems could be Ishq Hakiki, which is the idea of love of the divine for the divine. And the other one is Ishq Mijazi, the love for a person, whether that be your wife, your significant other, people in general. But what you'll notice is that the literature is ambiguous to the subject. The poetry doesn't necessarily say a person's name. Rather, it's ambiguous. So you're brought in from wherever you are in that moment in life into this journey that we take through Cavalli. Yes, we're starting to do some of our own poems, and they're of course inspired by the same themes that have been going on for hundreds of years. So, you know, Guru Nanak Ji wrote before, and then you had Baba Farid who wrote, you had Bulle Shah, these are all Punjabi, then you have Hazrat Amir Khusro, and phenomenal Urdu poets like Mir Taqi Mir, Dard, Ghalib. So there's plenty to be inspired from, and we are starting to take that journey of writing our own, because Cavalli is that art form, and we are very cognizant that the Desi American experience should be expounded upon.
So speaking of the Desi American experience, I know in back home in all the countries in the South Asian countries, you can probably have music pieces that are longer in length. Do you feel you've been performing in Europe and in the US and Canada and all of the places away from home for the audiences who are more used to the Western style and Western classical music as well? Do you see yourself adapting to that audience in terms of the length of the music or the depth of the music or the texture of the music in any way?
Yeah, the music, art always has to adapt, right? That's one of the parts that whenever I'm lecturing at universities, I talk about, that art is not frozen. As soon as you freeze it, it loses the definition of being an art. Right now it's frozen in times, and yes, you can write about it and talk about it at conferences, but art is living, art is molding, evolving all the time. You know, we're in California, and this is where Pandit Ravi Shankar Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, Swapan Chaudhary ji, have cemented roots, and they molded their art. Instead of playing Vilambit for 35 minutes, they shortened that, so it molded to the aesthetics of what people like to hear. We're trying to do the same thing. We're not, reinventing the wheel. We're following our Buzurgadeen, the older people, and one of the experiments that we have, it's called the Riyaaz experiment, is taking these sort of 15-minute pieces that we generally do in concerts and reducing it down to one part of its essence and showcasing it in 3 minutes or so. So some of that stuff is on our YouTube channel and on social media for people to digest. But I would also say that evolving the language to at least explain the lyrics is another way that we are cognizant that everybody in the audience may not speak Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, Gujarati, so we're trying to help them understand, as you'll see in the concert today, what they're about to listen to. Here's the essence, and then we let them experience the Cavalli itself.
That is so beautiful. So you are doing concerts. I hear you're doing lectures, and I also hear that there is something coming up, which is in the U.S. Military Academy. So tell us more about that.
Well, this week we're here at UC Santa Cruz, and we're very excited to be with the Santa Cruz community as well. In 5 days, we head to West Point, which is the U.S. Military Academy, and there we'll be presenting Desi music, from what I understand, probably for one of the first times to that audience. And I've got to say, the people, the staff, and the students, the cadets, as they call them, have been really open and welcoming to what we're about to present. We're excited about that. So we're going to do a Q&A. We're going to discuss Cavalli and devotional music, and then we're going to present a set. We're very excited about that. And given the times that we're in, for the people who understand, I'm talking about, we've had a recent death in Houston. We've had a similar passing of a dear soul at the West Point campus. These are challenging times, and we hope that spiritual music like Cavalli can bring a bit of comfort to them and us.
Yes, it's certainly music for the soul. So in the interest of time, we do want to ask you one question, which probably should have been my first question. What got you interested in this music, and how did your journey begin?
I grew up in a household where poetry was just recited. So my grandfather, loved reciting Hir Waris Shah or Ghalib or Bulle Shah, and at age of 2 and 3, you didn't really hear them. But poetry has a beautiful cadence. So as I grew up, this cadence was intriguing to me. And so one of the first ways I got music in my soul was through this poetry. And we were also a very musical household, but dance was also common in our household. So the arts sort of were around me. And Cavalli was one of those things that I didn't listen to until I was 15, 16. But once I did, it was sort of like if I was going in one direction, I heard Cavalli, and then I moved towards that direction, and it's been a magnet. And I really think that the audiences that we sing in front of sometimes have that impact, even if they don't understand the language. So we're excited about what Cavalli and the dialogue we have with Cavalli can offer. Thank you very much for listening to our small narrative.
Absolutely. We wish you all the best for your journey ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you.